Kazi. I'm a cardiologist at San Francisco General and a health systems researcher here at UCSF. We know that this event is organized under the leadership of Jim Kahn, who's the director of GHEcon.
I direct the Center for Health Policy, which is part of the Friedman-Spogel Institute for International Studies. So what I'm going to show you here, here's the strategies, no screening and screening. This is the lifetime costs for each of the strategies, the incremental cost and the lifetime quality adjusted life years, and the change in QALYs, and then the incremental cost effectiveness. So what we see is if you screen people, it costs about $194 more per person screened, we estimated at that time. They would live about 5 days longer, quality adjusted life days.
If you liked thresholds, and there are problems with thresholds that are divorced from budgets, but if you like thresholds, this particular one is too high. It is almost impossible to rule anything out. Another difficulty is that it doesn't distinguish, or it encourages analysts and decision makers not to distinguish between cost effectiveness ratios that meet the threshold.
How do we value the creation of an unwanted life from a DALY perspective, which is failed family planning, and vice versa? How do we value the elimination of infertility to enable a wanted life? And the answer is we don't have tools for either of those that are effective.
An important thing to recognize about the technology appraisal program, the drug program, if you like, is that there is a financial mandate. So if NICE says this is cost effective and it's effective and it should be used, the NHS has to find the money for it. Well, NICE's decisions have been to recommend technologies at a higher cost effectiveness ratio over time. So they've been pushing up and up. And in part, that's because of a really important discovery, which is that the term threshold is used to mean all kinds of different things. Perhaps this is, we should have realized this years ago. The way we think about, and doing the work I've just described, have been thinking about the term threshold is as a measure of opportunity cost, the supply side concept we've been talking about today. When NICE think of the term threshold, they think, yeah, it's partly about opportunity cost, but it's partly about the value of things other than QALYs that they want to reflect in decisions.
Right, so the mean in the population has improved, but the impact on disparities is completely unchanged. And this, I think, is probably what's most commonly seen in many types of healthcare interventions. So everyone's health's improved, disparities remain the same. What Froelich and Popkin argued, though, is that what actually happens is that disparities often worsen in the face of healthcare intervention. So the things I'd like to leave you with, so the beneficial effects of health interventions on disparities can't be assumed. That's probably the most important things. Interventions may actually worsen disparities. Designing and evaluating the impact of interventions must consider multiple factors. I've just listed some here. There are many more to consider.
Thanks very much indeed for the invitation. So what I'd like to do in the next 10-15 minutes is to speak about things around poverty and equity and how these are probably even more so in low and middle income country settings. But this is touching upon a little bit the MCDR, the multi-criteria decision analysis, which is we give another figure of merit in this context per budget or dollars spent for within the health sector to think about things and resource allocation. A lot of the resource allocation within the health sector is really focusing on the right-hand side here, identifying the best buys in dollar per quality gain, dollar per DALY averted, and so on.
So I'm going to take a very short period of time to just get even broader than where we have been before. And if you look at, how to get to universal health coverage, you can really take one path toward financial protection, in which case you'll emphasize hospitalization, catastrophic spending, et cetera, or you can take another path and emphasize primary care, public health, and that will emphasize health status. The truth is that it's a long and winding road. So where does that leave countries? So a country, typical low-income country in Africa or India, starting in this particular way, has a lot of options. Dizzying array of options. And it's a challenge. It's a real challenge, not only for policymakers, but for us as advisors to policymakers on which direction should they go. And this is actually from a website called www.healthfinancingafrica.org. And this is exactly the challenge that we are giving low-income countries and policymakers.
I come away from this day of conversations feeling like there are a few windows in my brain that have opened up that I didn't know existed, and I would hope that at least some of you had a similar experience. So thank you very much. A big round of applause for GHEcon and Devin, who made this possible. And it is time for drinks.
And a huge round of applause for Kazi.